What's up, streamers? By now, I'm sure all of y'all have heard about the Project Veritas video leaks about CNN. He's had two right now, both confirming, I guess you would call fake news. That's been the statement that's been made by Trump and a lot of other people about that network in general, but a lot of the mainstream media, and that's why people tune into people like myself. If you haven't seen the videos, I encourage you to go watch it. Project Veritas, James O'Keefe. It's entertaining at least. However, I want to talk about the actual idea of fake news in the media. So where we are in this day and age, we're all aware that we have been misled throughout years with propaganda and misinformation. It didn't start here with this last election cycle about Trump. It's been going on for years and years and years. Some people think that certain things were propaganda and lies. Certain people think other things were, and we all kind of meet in the middle and battle that out. However, at the end of the day, me and myself, I believe that there should be some type of ethics in journalism. You should bring both sides of the story, put the 100% truth of the facts and the evidence that is found, and then let everybody else decide what they feel is true. That's the best way to figure out where to go next, what the truth is, and everything that has to deal with any type of situation, issue, policy, and so on and so forth. But in this day and age, that's not what it is. There's so much biasness on every part of media, even in our alternate world of media, on YouTube or Facebook, social media. There's a biasness that you pick your team and you just run with it. I'm a Giants fan and they could do no wrong. And it's like, no, they might have a shitty pick. Hillary Clinton was a shitty pick. And I don't want to get too political on this because I'm talking about news and the way the information comes out. But at the end of the day, I really want to encourage people, and I've been saying this for a long time to people I have conversations with in close circles. You need to look at all the evidence. So just because a Washington Post or a CNN or a Fox News or an InfoWars or whatever it is that you tune into, get the other side of the argument. Go to the local paper where this incident happened, this shooting, or whatever the hell it is that you're looking up and you have an opinion on, or you think you have an opinion on because you read a headline. Go look up the actual, the local paper. What are they saying there? What actually transpired? Go try to look for the long video, not the one they show on CNN or on Fox News. Go look for as much information as you can to be able to make a valid decision. Don't go for what the headline said. Don't go for what this one journalist said, because they have a motive. It's obvious now. Like I said, there's no bipartisan ship anywhere. Yes, I think some of the Republicans and Democrats are in bed up in D.C., which should lead you to believe that you can't trust them in the first place. And I think that's a lot of the reason why we have, a lot of support for Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, because both of them were saying that none of these people could be fucking trusted. And it goes to our media. It seeps down. A lot of the same people that own things own a lot of other stuff that you're getting your information from. They own papers and they own a lot of different media, whether it's newspapers, magazines, and TV stations. So be wary of where you're getting your information. Is it some guy on YouTube just, span off his opinion, but he's acting like it's fact? You got to be very careful with that type of stuff. And I see a lot of calling for the fairness doctrine to be put back in place. It started in 1949. It got dismantled under Reagan in, I think it was 1987. And what that talks about is that everything should be talked about at equal length. So that there is no biasness. I'm like, no, fuck that. Let people be biased. Because, when it comes to ideologies, I talk about this when it comes to free speech. A bad argument will always lose, but go actually look for a different argument. Don't just listen to the first guy goes, that makes a little bit of sense, I'm gonna run with it. You know what I mean? You see all these couponers in the stores. Go be that person when it comes to your news. Find out the best thing. Go search for the deal. And you can't get a deal on news, obviously, but you can go look for what actually makes sense. Don't take the first thing that's being sold to you, because a lot of times that's the bullshit. I hope to always try to come forth as honest as possible. If I don't believe in something, I don't believe in something. Yes, I'm a bit partisan myself. I'm a little biased because these are my beliefs. I say that firsthand. This is my opinion. But a lot of the news articles that you're going to read in the paper is saying that everything's fact, or this happened and we got this source, and at the end there's no credible witness, there's no evidence, there's no nothing. A magical best friend that's invisible gave them that information. You don't know. So at the end of the day, I encourage people to look up history. I encourage people to look up actual legislation. Go read the document. What's actually in the travel ban bill? What's actually in this bill? Don't take the media. Oh, it's going to cost this many people to lose their health care, or they're going to lose this many jobs. Go look it up for yourself before you speak on the shit. Be educated. Find out about the stuff. Because fake news is actually everywhere. It's on billboards. It's on commercials. It's on TV shows. It's in your movies. It's everywhere. It's not just CNN. It's not just Donald Trump's tweets. Fake news is actually everywhere. And everybody should get used to it by now. If you're not used to it, I don't know. You must live under a rock. Seriously. So actually do what you should do and educate yourself. Because the school system isn't going to do it. Your local media is not going to do it. No one's going to do it but you. So, you got anything to add, honey?
We had this conversation earlier, and we felt it was really important to have this discussion, to encourage people to dig deeper, dig harder, get uncomfortable, look at sides that you don't agree with. You can at least build a better argument because you'll know what's coming at you, right? But at the end of the day, it seems very evident, and here's my opinion, that there are things against us as the people, as the plebes down here running amok, in the streets. We're not privy to these information. We're not privy to that. And they're trying to divide us on dumb things on purpose, right? If they can convince us to argue about this or that, whether did so-and-so say this or that, it's kind of like a magician show. It's the sleight of hand. What's going on while we're arguing about these things? What's going on while we're marching about these things? What's the bigger picture? What's the long game? And it's damaging to all of us. I can say I'd like for journalists to have a little more integrity. I'd like for them to only report the facts until they have all of the facts. But at the end of the day, it's up to me to wait for the facts before making an opinion. It's up to me to dig for it. And it shouldn't be that way. You could say, well, they should be telling us the truth. Yeah, great. But they don't. And I don't think they will. It's money. It's money. That's what they want.
Yeah.
It's ratings. It's all these things that none of us have anything to do with.
It doesn't help us out at all.
And it doesn't help. And it's destructive to our society. It's destructive against, it's kind of like Civil War era. It was, father against son and uncle against, cousin or whatever they, you know what I'm talking about.
Brother versus brother.
Yeah. And it's like that now. You're afraid to talk to somebody at the grocery store because they might think differently than you. Somebody who doesn't look like they might support your party lines, you're not going to talk to them. And you'd be surprised.
Well, the party lines are kind of bullshit to begin with. I've said that, the people that put themselves in just these boxes is just about as the people that put themselves in, I'm black, or I'm gay, or whatever. When you say you're a Democrat or a Republican, and that's what you are, and you're boxing yourself in, you're an idiot just like the rest of the people. Grow the fuck up. Actually, take time to think about every issue, every policy, and the ins and outs of it. Understand that every policy, every bill that gets passed, it's not going to always help out every single person. It's impossible. There's going to be negative effect on somebody somewhere. So at the end of the day, you got to look at the majority of people. But typically the media doesn't do that. They want to take the worst part of something, if it's the person that they're trying to tear down, and that's what they're going to expose.
Or they bring up some heartfelt, pull on your heartstring story out of one case out of a million that this, affected negatively. No,
correct.
It's a dumb straw man argument. Stop it. Stop buying into that. Yeah, I feel bad for that one person, that one guy. Yeah, that sucks. But you know what? Everybody else benefited. Somebody had to get polio for all of us to get this vaccination, right? The greater good was better.
Yeah, and I shock people a lot of times when I tell them, they're like, well, where do you get your information from? And I was like, really? Like, I look at CNN, I look at MSNBC, I look at ABC, I look at Fox, I look at InfoWars. I go on the websites. I've read a political article. I'll go on YouTube. I've searched this. I've read this book. And they're like, you watch all that different stuff? You look into all that? I'm like, yes.
I'm not relying on somebody to give me the truth.
And then people go, well, if you're such a big Trump supporter and you think CNN's lying to you, why do you look up CNN articles or watch what they said? I'm like, well, because you got to understand what they're what they're playing at, or their viewpoint, what their idea is for that policy, whatever it is you're talking about. You got to understand where they're coming from. It might not make any sense in your world, but at least you understand their argument. So okay, well, that doesn't make any sense to me. Let me go find the other side to it. Because if not, I'm just going to walk around stupid and just only hear one type of,
first thoughters and headliners, Stop it.
Yeah,
it's the worst.
I definitely encourage people to, be self-taught. Go look up the shit for yourself. That's definitely what I've done over the last 10, 12 years.
As a voter, as a person, as a human being. It's your responsibility.
I couldn't disagree, at all with that. It's definitely everybody's responsibility to be informed.
Absolutely.
And, you can think I'm a load of shit. Whatever. That's your opinion. That's great. Go fact check me. Go fact check everybody. But don't take the first thing. Trump had 602 lies, and that itself was 602 lies. Like, it was a lot of bullshit in that article by the New York Times. So be very wary of what you look up. Fact check everything. And
don't just Google. Well, I Googled it, and it's the first thing that popped up. You know what? Google just got sued for that because they're skewing results. So don't do that. Use Bing, use Yahoo, use DuckDuckGo. Go check it out. Go
use
look
Tor.
at the third or fourth. I mean, come on. Are you serious? Are we really going to do this? Because Google said so. Because Google's God now? I don't think so. Go look it up yourself. Go find it.
Amazon's becoming God.
Yeah, really. They own everything. Anyways, that's all I have to say. It's really important, and I just can't stress any further how important it is to not just lionize people and be like, well, they always tell the truth. Whether it's Stefan Molyneux, who I think does a great job telling the truth all the time.
But he's definitely opinionated.
He's definitely opinionated, and sometimes I do go look up his facts, right? Just to make sure he's keeping it honest. Do that. Double check your stuff. And if people are giving you opinions and a bunch of fee-fees and unnamed sources, it's probably bullshit.
You know what I love, though? Not to really make it about a party or whatever, or a side. I love how, like, you can typically tell what a liberal article is, because at the bottom of it, you cannot leave a comment. There's nothing there to say anything like, I disagree. Well,
studies show that more people will base their opinion less on the article and more on the comments below. If there's more people who agree with their line of thinking, then they go, well, I'm right. Well, if you shut down the comment sections, there's no banter. There's no ability to challenge the narrative given.
Sweet.
Which, you know what?
It makes a little bit of sense. It's good business.
Free market, they can do so. And again, this is why people go to the internet. This is why 6 million people go to Alex Jones. And this is where bad ideas breed. I'm not saying Alex Jones, but separately, that's where bad ideas breed, because you don't give them a platform to be discouraged and go, no, that's a terrible idea.
that was the other point I was going to bring up, that in this day and age, like I was talking about Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, there's obviously a distrust in the government and the media and so on and so forth, that it creates conspiracy theorists. And being somebody who questions things myself, I hate that term, conspiracy theorists.
I like that they're looking, even if I think they're wrong. I love that they're looking.
Well, of course, but it's kind of dangerous because there's so much out there on YouTube. So, for people actually doing YouTube shows, careful about the shit you're putting out, because there's some people out there putting out some bullshit and you're not fact checking even yourself. You're just putting some shit out willy nilly, and I'm not going to harp on that too much, but when you think about the conspiracy theorists, it's like, okay, I'm not going to say that anybody's right or wrong. There's a lot of conspiracies out there, and there's definitely a ton of stuff to sift through when you start going down that rabbit hole, right?
Yeah.
And I haven't went down everything because certain things I'm just not going to touch. When I hear about the false flag type shit, where Sandy Hook or the Pulse nightclub, it didn't happen, or I didn't see no dead bodies, or that's crazy shit. I don't know nothing about that. I'm not even going to listen to it. I typically go into everything with an open mind. With me, what I tell most conspiracy theorists, or people that aren't the conspiracy theorists who are arguing with the conspiracy theorists about something like a Sandy Hook, right? I tell them it doesn't matter. Whether it happened or didn't happen, look at the legislation that was trying to be passed afterwards. It was all about gun control. Nobody cared about the mental stability of the person that happened and what we should do with those type of incidences. Nobody really cared about the real actual safety. It was a gun-free zone, and then somebody came in with guns. Nobody's looking at, Pulse nightclub. There was all this FBI activity and the person this and that. No, they wanted to make it a gun issue. So look at the legislation. So then where they're pushing, where their idea is going. Forget what happened. Don't forget what happened. If it actually happened, that sucks. It's crazy. It pulls at your heartstrings. But at the end of the day, they're going to use it at their advantage to make it about the guns. Yeah. So forget whether or not this had, why would you even look into that type of shit? But what I do encourage people to go into, most things with an open mind. It might be something that you're like, there's no fucking way I believe this. Forget that for a second and give somebody the room, give somebody the floor to maybe sway your opinion. Because none of us are right about anything.
At least hear them out and ask questions.
I think it was Socrates, right? Somebody asked somebody in the village, it was a long time ago, obviously.
Socrates, right?
Yeah, right? Who was the smartest person in their village or town or whatever? And the person said Socrates. And they said, well, what makes him so smart? Because he admitted he didn't know anything or didn't know everything. Yeah. And it's like that couldn't be a more true statement. None of us have all the answers. None of us know all the truths about everything. So as soon as we realize that, it opens our mind to be able to listen to another argument, another position.
And that doesn't necessarily have to sway you, but if you can at least see where someone's coming from, if they at least bring you facts, statistics, reasoning, they're obviously passionate about it to have gone through the effort, you can at least give them the respect to look at their point of view.
Yeah.
And maybe go, okay, let me take this journey through this mind's, path with you. I might still have gone a different path, but let's talk about it. And we'd all be better for it.
Like I always say, same thing with the free speech thing. A bad argument will typically always lose.
Yes, and to finish up that thought, this idea that these horrible ideas are allowed to fester, that people don't challenge themselves. You see it in the colleges and things like that. You've got Antifa, that they feel they have a righteousness to hit people with bike laws, to shut down somebody else's rally under the guise of anti-fascism. No, that's being fascist because you're shutting down somebody else, right? Mm-hmm. Those ideas are allowed to flourish. That is a funded organization that is allowed to flourish. And
I think a lot of it
challenge it.
I think a lot of people
challenge the thoughts.
They won't think, and I think everybody else, okay, those people might be gone because they're not going to listen. But everybody else who thinks differently, challenge them on that, or do your research on the stuff. You know, and if you hear somebody making a bad argument or position in public, have that comment.
You don't have to be nasty. And
Yeah,
don't call names.
Yeah, don't call names. Don't belittle them. Don't get physical. But you know, arm yourself with the knowledge, and then you can have that conversation with them and explain to them why they're wrong. They might not listen, but and a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to deal with that, right? Well, you should. If you agree with what I'm saying, or you disagree with what the other person's saying, you should definitely have that conversation right there in the moment. I have it all the time at the workplace, and you know, I toe the line of going too far sometimes, but you should definitely have that comment, because if you don't have that comment and that person's talking to other people, you're just letting that breed to other people. Well, then it's just only going to get bigger, and then you're going to have to deal with it on a much bigger scale. That's how you get Antifa, and that's how ultimately you get communism.
Steve Scalise was shot. I mean, what is wrong with people?
Well,
that's horrible. That's horrible.
They've been listening to fake news. They've been reading headlines.
Most of them work at fake news that said these things. I mean, it's outrageous.
The troubling part is that, you know, when you have these sites or these channels of news pushing their stuff, like, you know, now like CNN saying that it's making journalism dangerous, and that if a journalist gets hurt, it's going to be on Trump's hands. The blood will be on his hands. And it's like, was it on CNN's hands when people at Trump rallies were getting beat up because you said that Trump was such a nasty person? No, I mean, there's definitely a hypocrisy in it, and everybody should understand that. And I don't want to go off on a tangent. I really want to just talk about the news. I can go on days about the hypocrisy and the crazy liberals.
Yeah. But anyways, dig deep. Look hard.
Do your research.
Challenge yourself. And you might still come out with the same conclusion, but you'll be better armed with better facts. And when you meet somebody who you disagree with, you'll have those facts at the ready.
You won't have to hit them with a bike lock.
Yeah. You'll be able to do your due diligence.
Or call them a Nazi. Like if you actually know your shit about what you're talking about, you don't have to call anybody a name. You can actually sit there and hold a conversation and dismantle somebody piece by piece. Because typically they got
in a benevolent way.
Yeah.
You know?
And with facts and statistics, because typically an uninformed person has 1 or 2 talking points when you could have 10. So you know every objection they're going to come with. And you just go, okay, yeah, I know all about what you've researched. Boom, 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 boom. And they're not going to know what to do. And they might sit back and then that's when they call you a racist Nazi or something like that. Or an idiot or whatever the case may be. You know, you might be a puppet or whatever. But
you did your best.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to walk away.
You got to think that the person that's listening to y'all's argument is taking away something.
Yeah.
So do your research. And don't listen to the bullshit. You know, be better than that. All right. Subscribe, like, dislike, leave comments. You know what to do. Peace.